opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome inside a Friday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. As always, we are brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm going to go ahead and put their logo in the top right corner so you know where to go if you're ever in the market of a new or used vehicle. There is no one better to take care of you than Greenwood Chevrolet. They have been with us since day one of Running Point, and we certainly want to thank them every day for their constant sponsorship and support of this show. Through all the twists and turns that it has had, Greenwood has always been our presenting sponsor. So we show some love to Greenwood Chevrolet and we get rolling. We have a lot to do today on the show. Let's start with a recap of last night. We'll go to the Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs scoreboard. Bring it up on the screen there so you can see what we're looking at from last night. Recap the action that was. Let's start with volleyball. We had Ursuline sweep Maplewood 3-0. Ursuline really starting the season off hot. Boardman getting a big win on the road at West Branch, 3-0. They bounced back from being swept by Girard, and I think that win makes Girard's win look even more impressive when you see a Boardman team go to West Branch and beat a very good West Branch team in straight sets. That means Girard was putting together something really special on Tuesday when they went to Boardman and got the win. Edgewood gets their second sweep in a row in as many days with sweep over Perry, 3-0. There you go there. Conneaut and Pine Tuning Valley is the only score we are looking for from last night. Edgewood gets the 3-1 win over Weir. Beaver Local falls in a tough one to Union Local. Hard-fought one for Beaver Local. That's a team that's almost an hour away from Beaver Local. It's a good trip for them, and they made it worth it with the sweep of the Beavers. Crestview dominates in the MVAC like they usually do. First game under their belt, they sweep Liberty in straight sets. Middle Ridge bounces back from their loss to Western Reserve, and they looked mighty angry in this game. 3-0 sweep. I was there. Ava Hewlett had a great night, 17 kills for her. Get a chance to go look at her post-game interview with her on the game recap or on our YSN YouTube page, as she had a brilliant night and earned the player of the game honors for Middle Ridge and their win over Jackson Milton. Austintown Fitch had a big test welcoming in Lakeview, and they get the win in 4 sets. Excuse me. Riley Simons had a great night as a setter, as she had 40-plus assists. And then you have Jordan Smith, who won also the co-player of the game, who was her main target, getting the ball to Jordan quite a bit. So Austintown Fitch gets the win 3-1 in 4 sets. Ty Bartell has a wonderful write-up on that one. You can go check that out on ysnlive.com. And then he has a couple of post-game interviews that you can also check out on our YouTube page. Lowville takes care of Sebring 3-0. The Rockets get a sweep there. Columbiana sweeps United in the EOAC. Big one for Columbiana as they try to fight for an EOAC championship this year. Girard sweeps Struthers in straight sets to get the win there. South Range and Hubbard in one of the more thrilling games of the evening. The Raiders won a 5-set matchup on Tuesday against Niles, but they couldn't back up that performance on Thursday as Hubbard gets the 5-set win over the Raiders. Campbell Memorial gets their first home win under their belt, 3-1 over Newton Falls. A good start to league play for them. Another thriller in the MVAC as Brookfield and Champion went 5 sets. Brookfield gets the win in this one. And then LeBray with a stunner goes on the road and upsets Garrettsville Garfield in 4 sets, 3-1. Remember, Garfield last year and the last 2 years, really last 2 seasons, the only MVAC team they lost to was Crestview. So that's a big win for LeBray to go on the road and get the win in Garrettsville in 4 sets. Boys soccer, let's look at this. Lakeview gets the win over Champion 3-2, a big one for the Bulldogs there. That was a part of a girls-boys doubleheader. We'll get to the girls' score in just a moment. Middle Ridge and Jackson Milton were fighting on the soccer field while I was in the volleyball court, and they worked to a draw, 2-2, the final score there. Beaver Local takes care of Alliance, final score 7-0. How about this? Poland coming off of that big coming from behind victory over Canfield. Then they go to Fitch, and Fitch cools them off a bit, 2-0, the final score there. Falcons with a big victory. Hubbard's defense pitches another clean slate as they throw the shutout 4-0 to West Branch, a big win for the Eagles, and their defense playing really well so far in this young season. Campbell gets the win over Niles, 7-0, the final score there. East Liverpool gets the loss to St. Clairsville, 2-1, the final score. Tough one for the Potters. And then a wild one in Ursuline as they get the win over Salem, 1-0 in the last seconds of the game. They get the win. All these different aero bars, man. My goodness. Girls soccer, we had Springfield and Crestview with a 4-4 tie. Waterloo got the win over Newton Falls as it was postponed. East Liverpool and Beaver Local. Beaver Local gets the win there. How about Champion getting their first win over Lakeview since 2007, I should say, with the score there, 1-0. And Girard and Niles squared off, and looks like Niles got the win there. Howland and Salem tie at 4. And then Boardman gets a win over Pullman. And then West Branch gets the 2-1 win over Streetsboro. So those are your final scores from last night's soccer and volleyball, boys and girls soccer. Some really good action, a busy Thursday, and a lot of our teams did pretty well. Let's move on to today's scoreboard because what we're going to do is we're going to preview all the football games that are going on tonight and talk about what's happening. So I'm just going to leave this up so you can see what the slate of tonight's games look like. What we're going to do later on in the show as well is we're going to hear the interviews that Steve Leslie got in the Springfield Tigers show at the Tigers table earlier this week because they were really good interviews. So we're going to hear from those guys in a little bit. We're going to play his interviews that he did with the Tigers table in case you missed them. And we're also going to talk about these games that are going on. How about Hoban? We'll start with them as they're on the top of that scoreboard. Once again, this scoreboard brought to you by Burnett Pools and Hot Tubs. Hoban is going on the road, and they will take on Erie Cathedral Prep. And Hoban, of course, with the big, huge victory over the reigning state champions in Kentucky last week, they're going to try to keep every ounce of momentum. And if they keep playing like they did last week, I don't know if anybody on their schedule can really slow this team down. They're a very hungry team. They got to the state championship last year, as we all remember, and a couple of late turnovers kind of kept them from that state championship. So they feel like they're a team that is geared back, and they definitely want to win one this year. And they very well could. Champion in Rootstown, we just got word a little bit ago that has been moved to Saturday due to some power outages in Rootstown. If you kind of slept through the night last night, you might have missed it, but we had some very powerful storms come through the whole northeastern Ohio area. It was a huge storm. It was actually, the one of the first times that the Storm Tracker 21's meteorologist crews could really remember where every single county in the viewing map was under a severe thunderstorm warning. It doesn't usually happen like that, but that's how we were. That's how grand scale this storm was. The winds were equivalent to a F0 tornado, or an EF0 tornado now to be more accurate, as the scale kind of changed its name there. But so we had some very damaging storms roll through the area last night, and I know a lot of people lost power. A lot of people still probably dealing with some power outages, and Rootstown is one of those situations where they are dealing with power outages from the storm last night. So Champion in Rootstown is going to be played tomorrow at 7 o'clock in Rootstown as they deal with trying to get power back to their stadium. But luckily, as of now, that's the only game that we have been told has been moved. Obviously, we will stick close to those updates. Maybe some schools trying to get power before the game. Maybe they won't be able to. Who knows? We know the storm had a massive effect on the area. I want to give a shout out while we're talking about it to Storm Tracker 21, our great partners over there at 21 WFMJ. They did a great job coming on the air late at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, not when you normally have to go into work, but when storms call on our area, Storm Tracker 21 was there. They kept you constantly updated, whether you are on the television, they were on Facebook, they were even on YouTube Live. So many different ways to watch them. I know a lot of people got in their basement, and then when you get in your basement, you don't have a way to watch WFMJ. Well, you can pull them up on Facebook on your phone, and they did a really good job keeping everybody updated. And I hope that everybody in the YSN network and the YSN family was able to, one, stay safe. That's first and foremost. But then after safety comes damage to the property. So we hope that no one out there is dealing with anything too significant out of one of the more severe storms that we've seen all summer. And really, it might be the last one, hopefully, knock on wood, that we see all year, because we are nearing the end of storm season here in Northeast Ohio. So that being said, once again, repeating it, Champion in Rootstown has been moved to Saturday. Kickoff will still be at 7 o'clock at Rootstown. South Range is opening, not their new facility, but a lot of new upgrades to their stadium, and they will be unveiling that tonight as they host a very good green team out of the Federal League. And that's going to be a fun one as South Range gets to open their home schedule and play at home for the first time this year. And they're expecting a lot of big things after their 41-14 victory over Springfield. And they did it a lot of different ways. And you watched the tape last week, and if you were able to watch the game or watch it after on YSN on demand, or check out the highlights that we put up on on the YouTube page, you saw a lot of what made South Range great on the offensive side. Power running, but very creative ways to run the ball. Not just your typical, belly up the A gap. They really do really intricate things in their run game to make it really hard to put a read on. Their quarterbacks always are really good athletes that can run, and Toy is no different this year. And then you have a great backfield that's doing the job. But up front is where I was really impressed with the Raiders, because they did lose a solid chunk of their offensive line last year. And that was one of the question marks. I mean, every team, I don't think it's it'd be disrespectful to go into a season saying a team has question marks. Every team in high school football had question marks this year. What are they going to do with this? What are they going to do with this? And I think one of the big ones for South Range, outside of obviously the quarterback and some of the skills positions it's lost, I think even more important than that was the fact that they did lose, a big, important chunk of their offensive line. And these boys really played well up front against Springfield. You knew Springfield was going to be an aggressive defense. They always are. They don't play back. They really attack. And South Range did a really good job with these intricate blocking schemes, especially in their running game. And you saw a lot of big breakout runs because of it. So I think South Range is going to bring that blocking, that physical nature into this game against Green tonight. And you never count out the Raiders. I don't care who they're playing. We move down the line as Lakeside tries to make it 2 in a row after the big win in the season opener. They travel to Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. That's up in Chardon, and that's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Can't wait to see if the Dragons can keep momentum. Obviously, they're trying to, put a spark in their program. And how about a 2-0 start? That would definitely do it. Some familiar teams that have been playing each other for the last several years, Toronto and East Palestine. Last year, when these two teams played, there were moments in this game where East Palestine felt like they could have won. I mean, they had chances. They got down on the goal line a couple of times. It was not a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. So I think East Palestine probably had this game circled throughout the offseason, as this is a game that if we do things the way we can do them, we could walk away with a victory. So very, very much an under the radar game. Keep an eye on this East Palestine Toronto game tonight in East Palestine. Girard will go for a 2-0 start. They'll go to Liberty, who had a tough one, especially on the defensive side last week, allowing 56 points to Edgewood. They'll try to shore up the defense. Their offense looked pretty good, but their defense is definitely going to do a better job against Girard, who is really maybe all around the fastest team in the YSN network. I mean, you look at the athletes, especially the track stars on this Girard team and what they were able to do in the track season. These Indians like to run, and they like to run fast. They like to use that speed to spread you out. They are very athletic, and Liberty's going to have to contend with that all night long. It might not be fun for Liberty tonight. Latonia will go and host Waterloo tonight, as both teams are trying to get their first win of the year. Western Reserve going to Conneaut. Remember this game last year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was a very good game down to the wire. And one of those heartbreakers that Western Reserve lost in the final possessions, they had a multitude of those last season where they were right there in the thick of it towards the end of the game and just could not make the final plays. So we'll see if they can do that tonight against the Spartans. We'll move back to the top as Ashtabula St. John travels to Wycliffe, and that's a 7 p.m. start time there. St. John trying to get their first win of the year, and they need some momentum in that program for sure. How about McDonald? They're coming off that big win over Southern last week. They stay in the EOAC, and they face a Columbiana team that lost in a heartbreaking fashion to Lowville on a 2-point conversion in overtime. So these two teams in week 2 going in opposite directions. Columbiana coming off a heartbreaking loss, McDonald coming off a close, hard-fought win. We'll see what kind of emotions prevail. Does momentum prevail, or does the hunger to get back and wash that taste out if you're Columbiana prevail? Columbiana's defense played pretty solid throughout the whole game against Lowville. Even that last 2-point conversion, I mean, it was a scramble drill, and their quarterback made a really good play to escape the pocket and give the receivers enough time to find some open spots. You don't only ask your secondary to cover someone for so long before it gets kind of out of hand, and that's kind of what happened on that last play. So I think Columbiana's defense, overall, that game played pretty dang well. We'll see what they can do with this McDonald team that loves to run the ball for sure. Hubbard, their defense played well. I mean, the 10-6 victory last week in week 1. They have Greenville tonight. We have Howland hosting Poland as the Dogs versus the Cats. Howland trying to bounce back. Poland trying to keep the pedal to the metal. An awesome win last week for Poland as they steamed past Salem last week. So they're trying to keep their momentum. Boardman trying to find some positivity as they welcome in Uniontown Lake for their home opener tonight. Niles and Anton Gardner, who is someone that ran like he was mad at the ground last week. He was phenomenal. He'll go to Alliance and the Aviators. This is going to be a very good game if Niles brings their A stuff. Alliance is going to be a team that a lot of people, I think, have at the top of that EBC fighting for a championship. So Niles going to Alliance. That this should be a really good one, especially if Niles shows up and plays the way they did last week. Wellsville trying to get their first win. They welcome in a team that I've actually never heard of. Weirton Madonna. Oh, you know what? No, I have. I've never seen it with the two, with the city in front of it. I've seen the Madonna. So Madonna, not the singer, but the football team coming into Wellsville, and the Tigers are trying to look for their first win. We have Woodridge playing host to West Branch as they try to bounce back from week one. And I've told you before, I'll tell you again, I am high on West Branch right now. I think Bo Olazas is a really good player. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he bounced back really well last week after throwing that early interception that gave Canfield a little bit of control in that game. And if it wasn't for a fourth quarter that Canfield dominated, I think West Branch and the Warriors would have been right in the thick of that game. So, don't count out the Warriors. That's a really tough first game of the year to come in and try to face the reigning state champions. And for 3 quarters, they did pretty well. So I think they will be A-OK, and I'm excited to see what they bring to the table in week 2. Back to the top, we have Beaver Local traveling to Salem. Both teams trying to get their first win of the year. A little bit of a surprise to see Beaver Local losing last week with their offensive firepower that they have brought back, especially with Austin Klein. So you have one veteran quarterback that is going into his 3rd year starting at varsity, and one team that's trying to figure out the quarterback rule. Obviously, losing Jackson Johnson to graduation, tough for Salem, and they're going to try to figure it out tonight. Beaver Local comes to town. This is always a good game. They've played each other the last several years, and we'll see what they can do tonight. Lisbon will be welcoming in Fairport Harding. Harding got the win last week, so Lisbon will try to cool them off a little bit. East Liverpool will host Indian Creek. The Potters are 1-0 after a stomping of Minerva, but the level of football gets a little bit higher tonight. We'll see if the Potters can handle it there. Shaw goes to East. Cleveland Shaw, that is. East played really good defense last week in their 10-6 loss. They just need to find a way to score just a little bit more on offense. You hold the team to 10, you win more than not. So their defense has to keep the process going. Their offense has to find a way to move the ball a little bit better. Campbell Memorial looked really good last week, but can they handle a Lowville team coming off a big win over Columbiana? We'll see that. Very interested in this one between the Red Devils and the Rockets. Inter-MVAC action there between the Scarlet and Gray tier. That is not Rutgers. That is Rittman, with the same Rutgers are going to Wyndham as the Bombers try to get their first win of the season. Newton Falls and Jackson Milton squaring off with each other. That should be a fun one. Another inner MVAC matchup between the Scarlet and Gray tier. Canfield will go to Mansfield Senior, a big road trip for the Cardinals as they try to keep their momentum after beating West Branch last week, and that'll be the first road trip of the year for Canfield. We go back up to the top. Austintown Fitch comes home, and they will host Central Valley. Grand Valley will go to Edgewood as Edgewood's offense tries to do what they did last week and get the highest total on the YSN family. Edgewood scored more than any other YSN team last week on the network. Jefferson has another old NE8 rival coming to town as Lakeview will try to go 2-0 as they go to Jefferson to play the Falcons. Springfield tries to bounce back, and just like last year, they'll have to do it against Brookfield, and that's going to be at Brookfield this year. Brookfield, a really tough one in week 1, and the Tigers are definitely a hungry bunch of football players coming into that game. Southern will host Crestview. Southern with a shocker loss last week. They probably did not expect to lose to McDonald, but they did. And Crestview also lost last week, so someone's going to get their first win of the year in Salineville. Ursuline travels to Padua Franciscan, a big one for the Irish. That's a really good football team they're going to play. Orange got a win last week, and so did Middle Ridge. The Rams did it in more exciting fashion, I guess you could say, winning on the last play of the game. Orange was decisive in their victory. So we'll see what something's got to give, right? What straw breaks in that Orange versus Middle Ridge game. Last but not least, we have Struthers traveling to Geneva. We also have some Saturday games that we'll go over a little bit later, but those are your games on the network tonight, and kind of some overview of what's going to happen and what to expect from each one. We are going to take a break here on Running Point. When we come back, we will play the interviews with Springfield that Steve Leslie did at the Tigers table earlier this week as they geared up for a week 2 matchup with Brookfield, trying to go 1-1. We have Sean Guerrero, we have Mr. O'Donnell, and we have Drew Miller as well on tap for you after this break on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Sheely's is more than a furniture store. We're a hub for all of your appliance needs. We offer the widest selection at everyday low prices, with over $1 million of in-stock inventory from Whirlpool, KitchenAid, LG, GE, and more. Our knowledgeable, no-pressure sales staff can help you find the perfect appliances for your home. We're there for you beyond your purchase to service what we sell and offer free local delivery with 24-month special financing. Sheely's, the best things in life happen at home.
House troubles can attack anytime. When trouble strikes, call Mighty Mike. Your hometown hero is on his way. HVAC causing havoc? Has your furnace gone mad? Mighty Mike Heating and Cooling will save the day. Commercial or residential, 24/7. For quality service you can depend on, call your hometown hero. Call Mighty Mike.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
Shopping for a vehicle online should be easy and worry-free. Introducing Merge from Greenwood Chevrolet, a completely new way to buy a car that combines the convenience of shopping online with the personal touch and expertise that Greenwood is known for. With Merge, shopping is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Choose a vehicle from our pre-owned inventory, build a deal that fits your needs, and finalize the deal with our online buying team. That's car buying in a new lane. Visit greenwoodchevrolet.com and let us go the extra mile for you.
Welcome back to Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. And as we're talking about Greenwood Chevrolet, we know that summer is coming to an end, but there's still time for those summer road trips. Let's play a little game of this or that, take a group road trip or take a solo road trip. Go find out on social media where the consensus is. Do you like to take a group road trip? Do you like to take a solo road trip? Group road trips, if you want one of those, Greenwood Chevrolet's got plenty of SUVs and family vehicles for you there. But then they have plenty of solo vehicles. Your small cars, your muscle cars that guys like to take along the road. So head over to Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. And since it's Football Friday, we want to give you a taste of some of our shows and let you know that, by the way, if you're interested in having a weekly show for your team, it's not too late. Reach out to us and get a sponsor, get someone that we can go to every week, and we would love to set up a show for you. We have Springfield covered this week, and they had a really good set of interviews coming off that loss to South Range. And Steve Leslie did a wonderful job at the Tigers table, who is the proud sponsor of the Springfield Sports Show. So let's hear from a couple of player profiles and the coach himself, Sean Guerrero from Springfield Football, as they gear up for week 2 at Brookfield.
Tiger Nation, Steve Leslie, ysnlive.com. Tiger Nation, Tiger Tuesdays, every Tuesday night at the Tigers table. Cannot thank Melissa and Rob, Tiffany and Debbie for all their support and making YSN part of their family here at the Tigers table. The servers, the hostess, Michelle and Macy, waitressing. Shout out to all of them and all they do. Tiger Nation, proud to be joined. Senior player profile. Give it up for Drew Miller. Drew Miller. You got a round of applause. First of all, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Talk about this a little bit. You're a senior. Great turnout again. Great support from your teammates here. I'm going to say it first. It's week 2. Turn the page. That game's over. Done with. I'm going to say this. This team's going to have a lot of success the rest of the season. One game does not define a football team. But before we start, talk about your family a little bit and what they mean to you. Give them a shout out here on YSN.
Yeah, no, they're great. My sister's out there, my dad, my mom. You know, they come to all my games. You know, they mean a lot to me. So.
Well, they mean a lot to you. I will say this. I know your dad very well. Your dad is one of the best human beings that I've ever met. He does a lot for a lot of people. He teaches, he coaches. Mom's the same way. I've been around you a long time. Dad's on the sidelines with you.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how special it is if you could play with your dad on the sidelines.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get a chance at that. Talk about that experience.
No, it's great. I mean, he does a great job keeping football at football and home at home. But, like, if I have any questions, he's always there for me.
All right, so that's what I want to ask you. He does a good job of keeping football at football and home at home.
Yeah.
So probably was not real talkative Friday night, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Not real talkative, so we just kind of did family things with Mom, I'm hoping, and get that out of our system. All right, so let's go to Mom. Do you know where Mom sits in the stands, I guess, is the first question.
Yeah, she sits right
Same
next
spot?
right next to Guerrero.
Right next to Guerrero.
Yep, every week. Yeah.
We'll just let that one be right next to Guerrero, their cousin. So I have to say positive things about family members. So to the Guerrero family, shout out. Friday night, senior year, new stadium, YSN Nation. I said this when I got up to the press box to all of you guys. I was in awe of what I remember seeing compared to a new stadium, a community that loves their athletics, a South Range community that came in by the bunches, a packed house. Did it go the way you wanted? No, absolutely not. But how special was that night?
No, it was great. I mean, that first time playing on that field, atmosphere was amazing. Yeah, you know, it meant a lot to me. So,
Drew Miller, senior player profile, Tiger Nation. Every Tuesday, we want to pack this place every week. Another great crowd tonight. The Tigers will take off to Brookfield Friday night. Tiger fans, if you can't make it, come to the Tigers table. They will have it on ysnlive.com for those that can't make the game. Come on over, enjoy a great meal, and watch the Tigers get their first victory. How special is this senior group?
Oh, it's very special. I mean, grow up playing together all the time, you know, hung out. You know, it's very special. So,
I often ask this, is playing with teammates is special, but I think the special times come in a locker room, at school, away from football. You guys seem tight-knit. You have a lot of fun together, don't you?
Yeah, we're a very tight group. I mean, we used to hang out all the time. We still do, and even the locker room during doubles, that's when it really matters.
That's good to hear. Tiger Nation, I want to hear this from you guys, too. I'm getting a lot of info that this football team likes to fish. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, so Drew Miller, I'm going to put you on the spot. The best fisher on the football team is?
Probably Jake O.
Jake O, and he's going to come on. That's a pretty good segue to the next interview. So, and that's probably some of the things we talk about, fishing as a group, doing those types of things.
Yeah.
You'll remember those forever. How good could this football team be?
I think we can be really good. You know, clean up the mistakes and I think we can go pretty far.
All right, so take me from a football team now. Take me to the mood after that game. I have to ask this. It's not a. I know how I was when I was.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was more shocked or more devastated on things that went on. Take me to how you guys were after that game, going into Saturday morning and getting back in your routine.
I think we were upset, but I think we moved on. I think we realized that we have to really start cleaning these mistakes up if we want to be good.
Yeah,
so we were pretty locked in on the film and stuff. So yeah.
How's this week been so far? Good week of practice?
Good. Yeah. We've been pretty focused in.
Good week of practice, and that's the key. They'll play Friday night, like I said, at Brookfield. Drew Miller, offense or defense? What's your favorite part?
Probably offense. That's why I play more. So
you want to catch the ball and you want to play more.
Yeah.
The offensive coordinator is
Coach Guerrero.
Coach Guerrero, get him the damn ball. There, I'll say it for you. Get him the damn ball. I want to see us do some things a little better. Let's get some points on the board. No, I'm just kidding. We will do all those things with Drew Miller. What do you see yourself doing? This senior year is going to go really fast. Drew Miller, what's your plans after you graduate from Springfield?
Probably go to college, maybe for exercise science.
Science. Any choices for college here? I'll give you one. The Youngstown State University is a pretty good choice. We'll shout them out. Yeah. I have a pretty good tie with them being able to do football. Yeah. I know your family goes to those football games. Mm-hmm. How excited are you to see your path develop? Now, you're a senior. I'm going to tell you this now. My daughter graduated last year. Don't blink because it's going to be over.
Yeah.
How do you enjoy this senior year without worrying about what comes after that?
I think just take every day at a time, enjoy all the small things because it does go by quick.
The small things are the most important things. They go by very, very quick. With Drew Miller, Tiger Nation, give him a hand for everything he does for Tiger football. But we're not done yet. We're going to play rapid fire. No wrong answers. I love to start with this one. When I say Sean Guerrero, what's the first word that pops in your mind?
I'm going to say Joker. He's always making jokes at practice.
Always making jokes at practice.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to say this one to you, and you can't say this one as dad's son. When I say Bill Miller, what's the first words that pop in your mouth?
Great dad.
Great dad. Yeah. And that's a fantastic answer. Shout out to you for that. Gatorade or water?
Water.
If you had to pick Gatorade, what color?
Probably white. I
like
white
Gatorade.
Yeah.
All right. Drew Miller's favorite food?
Probably wings. I like wings a lot, yeah.
All right, so Drew Miller just had boneless wings because his favorite restaurant is?
Tiger's Table.
Tiger's Table. Very good. Now let's go off of that because we all eat at different places.
Yeah.
Ava gave a good shout out to Gia's, who's a sponsor of YSN, so shout out to them. Drew Miller's next go-to place to have a great meal.
Probably Chick-fil-A. I like Chick-fil-A a lot. Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's a better cook, mom or dad?
Mom.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Favorite part of being on this football team?
Probably just the bond that we all have. We built it over a long time, and so yeah, it's pretty special.
Bonds are special. You'll never lose those. These guys will be friends with you forever. Drew Miller, what is your favorite class you've had at Springfield? And eyes are on you. You get to shout out your favorite teacher in Tiger Nation.
Probably Mr. Dunn, Personal Finance.
Mr. Dunn, Personal Finance.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great class. Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Dunn can get Mr. Leslie some help in personal finance in today's world. No, that's a great answer. Senior year, you lost the game. I don't think this team's going to lose many more. I really don't. But we talk off air and on air. What do you want to see this group accomplish, not only for football season? You guys are going to be tight-knit for the rest of the year. What do you want to see this group do?
Obviously a state championship would be really nice. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's a good answer. Yeah. And, folks, here, I'll say it. 0-1 doesn't mean anything. State championships are not won in week one. They're won at the end of the year, this team is talented enough to win a state championship. If there's a team that I want to see win a state championship, it's your group. But once again, fans, how about a hand for Drew Miller? I cannot thank you enough for all you do for this Tiger football team, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
All righty, thanks.
Appreciate it.
What's up, Ysn? Steve Leslie, YSNLive.com. Tuesday at the Tigers table on Tuesday night. We're here every Tuesday night. Cannot thank Rob and Melissa and Tiffany and Debbie for all their support all season long. We'll be here. Cannot thank them enough for being the home of the Springfield Tigers all season long, as they will invade Brookfield Friday night. The Tigers get victory number 1. Proud to be joined by senior player profile Jake O'Donnell, tight end, defensive end. Fans, I'll give it up for him a little bit. Let's start with that. I love coming here. This community's tight. You guys are close-knit. You lost a football game, yes. Is it the end of the world? No. There's many more. We'll get to that. What is coming here on Tuesday night and being a part of this mean to you?
I mean, my whole life, I've always been with these guys, and to see the support they come out with every week for all the seniors that are getting interviewed, it's really cool.
That's awesome to hear. Shout out to all you guys. Let's talk family. Jake O'Donnell, let's talk about your family. Talk about them. Give them a shout out.
My mom,
let them know you love
them. They've always supported me through. I've been playing football for 9 years. They've always gone out of their way to make sure that I'm at practice on time and I've got what I need. So,
well, those are good parents. If they're making you be on time, that's a sign of a great parent. Mom and Dad, shout out to you for all you do. I have to ask, do you know where Mom and Dad are at in the stands on game night?
I always try and look once, but I try not to get too focused on it. I try to pay attention to the game.
Okay, Jake O'Donnell, senior player profile, tight end, defensive end. I'm going to start with this. You were crowned the best fisherman on the Springfield Tiger football team. Talk to me about that a little bit. Give me the story of this group and the fishing that goes on with this football team.
I mean, that's about all we got to do around here. So me and Evan, we go every night. We don't always catch a lot, so I'm not sure how I'm considered the best, but I guess it's an honor in a way.
Okay. That's special for you guys to do as a group, though, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go this route. If you're not, since you can't name yourself, you name the best fisherman of this football team.
Probably Dante Gentile.
Dante Gentile. All right, so he has to keep that tradition going when you guys graduate next year, correct?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. Brand new stadium, brand new turf, big time crowd. Wasn't the way we wanted the game to end by all means, but take me back to that feeling for all you guys and how special that was to come out in front of family and fans and community on that new turf on that stadium.
It was crazy. I mean, we walked out and I was looking in the stands. I didn't see a single seat open.
No, there wasn't.
That place was packed, and then just seeing the turf, it was a really nice night too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just a great experience.
All right, so a tough loss, no doubt. Good football teams bounce back, and this one's going to bounce back. There's no doubt in my mind. How's this week been for you after that tough game?
Obviously, last week didn't go how we intended it to, but I think it's a better thing to get back stronger than you were last week and to practice harder and just hope that you can have a better outcome.
Well, they're going to have a better outcome, no doubt in my mind. Jake O'Donnell, tight end, defensive end for the Tigers. Offense or defense, what's your preference?
I'm going to have to say defense. Making a big stop on a third down, that kind of gets you hyped up.
Okay.
Tight ends don't get a lot of love.
Tight ends, here, I'll rephrase it. Tight ends get no love.
Yeah.
Offensive linemen get no love. It's the Roricks and the Sheelys and the running backs. They get all the love. But if you guys don't do your job, they're not getting a whole lot of love. I think this offensive line could be really good. Your thoughts there?
I mean, we got a bunch of experienced big dudes. Sugar over there, Datillo, Thomas. They're all big guys that are strong, and they can block whatever you need them to block.
Senior year now, you get a chance. They will come back after we beat Brookfield on Friday night. You'll come back and have the rock ceremony and celebrate your first win. There, I said it. How's that going to be on Friday night?
It's going to be exciting. First win as a senior, and then coming back to that rock for the first time.
How exciting is that?
On it. Oh,
I hear a lot about it. I have to get to a rock performance after a win.
Everyone comes.
Everybody comes?
Yeah.
The whole community.
Yeah, especially after a big game, there's a lot of people there.
Well, there's a lot of big games coming up. Adversity. I think you guys are going to make a statement to handle adversity now. It's a show me what you've done world. You lose a tough game. Everybody's kind of put Springfield a couple notches down. Good teams bounce back from adversity. You're one of the leaders of this football team, obviously. What kind of help can you be to some of the younger players?
I think just kind of reminding them of last year that we didn't start the strongest, but to finish like that against the state runner-up and lose in that close of a game, I think that we really came around. So I think it's important to just not give up this year.
That's a great statement there, and this team will not give up. They will head over to Brookfield Friday night on ysnlive.com. We'll have it for you. Come on over to the Tigers table, no doubt, and watch the game and have a great meal. Give it up for him, fans. Jake O'Donnell, we're going to play rapid fire.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go first one with you. I got to know. Jake O'Donnell's favorite place to fish is?
Lake Milton.
Lake Milton. That's a good answer. The biggest fish, or what's the best fish, I guess, you've caught?
I went to the ocean a couple years ago and caught this big one. I don't know what it's called, but it was pretty big.
Okay. See, I love the ocean, but I stay kind of foot where you can see your feet in the water. I'm not going out where you're at, but shout out to that. Hot week, water or Gatorade?
Water.
Water? If there's a Gatorade, what's your favorite color?
Probably just the lemon lime, the
lemon
green
lime.
one.
Okay. Jake O'Donnell's favorite food is?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. This must be a Tiger thing with Chick-fil-A. All right. Jake O'Donnell's second favorite restaurant is the Tigers Table.
Tigers Table, yeah.
Tigers Table. What'd you have to eat tonight?
I got, what was it called? It was some sort of burger.
Good?
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay. We talked to you, obviously, defense before offense. You've answered that. Shout out to your favorite teacher in the favorite class you've had at Springfield.
Probably Mr. Guerrero's carpentry class. They just started putting that back in.
Wait a second. Now, Mr. Guerrero's carpentry class, and he's a good teacher. He's good at carpentry.
Yeah.
That's a good field to get. So that takes me into my next question. What do you see yourself doing when you graduate this summer?
I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into that yet.
College, obviously. Maybe.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
I'll see where I.
That is a great answer. Carpentry is a good profession. There's a lot of skilled things that are out there needed. How do you want this season to end with this group? You talk state championship. I said it last week. I think a lot of teams say that, and a lot of teams think and mean that. I think you guys do. How do you want this to go?
I mean, obviously, ending it that way would be phenomenal, but we know that's not going to come easy. We have to show up every day.
One week at a time.
Yeah, and just work and hopefully achieve that goal.
Jake O'Donnell, here we go. Role models, you're having a bad day. You go to your family. Who's the role model in your family that you go to?
Probably my mom. Probably my mom and my dad.
Okay.
I couldn't really choose between them.
No, you don't choose between them. Those are two good answers. You got two good parents, so shout out as role models to them. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Jake O'Donnell, senior tight end, defensive end. Wish you best of luck Friday night against Brookfield. Go get that first victory.
Thank you.
Tiger Nation, Steve Leslie, ysnlive.com. Tiger Tuesday night here at the Tigers table. Shout out to Melissa and Rob and Tiffany and Debbie for all their support in making YSN home for the Springfield Tigers and home here at the Tigers table, which is a great meal. Joined by the head coach, Sean Guerrero. Coach, thanks for joining us again.
No, thanks for having us again.
Another great night.
Yeah, great support that we have. Kids are here, parents are here. This is another good quality thing for our community.
And I asked this. Week one's over. You can't change anything. You're the head coach. You understand that better than anybody. Week 1 to 2 is the biggest improvements. Sean, what's one of the things you want to see this team improve on?
I'd like our kids just to be able to be a little bit more consistent in what we're doing. I mean, the little things, and it's nothing crazy that we got to change, nothing crazy that we got to do. We're just going to shore up some things, try to eliminate mistakes, and make sure. I mean, at times I think we try to push, or we try to end up. So we just got to take it one play at a time. It's in a game when you get down that quick, it's you can't get back in one play.
There's no 20 point scoring play. There's no quick answers, but. One of the things that I was impressed with, and I talked, we moved the football, obviously. Third down conversions, I was charting a little bit of those. I don't know the exact numbers, but they converted a lot, and we didn't. And I loved hearing you say that it's not big things for this football team. It's the little things. What are some of the steps that you see this team progressing with? I thought Gentile had a good game. I thought all your running backs really ran the ball pretty hard and strong. The passing game obviously will continue to grow and get better. What's your thoughts on the offense?
For us, and it's going to start with the run game for us. We need to make sure we establish the run. That should open up some one-on-one opportunities for our kids, and we can end up running the ball. I thought our line and our backs played well. That's something that we need to continue to try to keep pushing and make sure we can establish that running game for us. For that, we're just trying to make sure that we kind of simplify some things. I mean, South Range is a well-coached football team, and again, if you make mistakes, they're going to end up capitalizing.
That's one of the things. I talked to you last week. You knew they were going to be a good football team. A lot of people have they got some guys over there that had a lot of experience last year that did a lot of good things that had some big plays in your game. But, Sean, I go back to when I went up to the press box, and I've been at Springfield Stadium an awful lot. I was in awe of the surroundings, the new turf, the community support. That place was packed on both sides. Describe that feeling a little bit. As the head football coach here, you've seen the growth and you've seen the transition to that beautiful stadium.
Well, you see that, and again, I go back more to our fans of it. The facility right now between the turf and just our facilities, the concession stands and the bathrooms and stuff. The way I think we have one of the best, facilities for a small school or D7 school. I think it's one of the best places. And then when you put our fans in that atmosphere,
they were loud at the start of the game. That place was rocking.
It was nuts. For our kids to be able to enjoy that and just kind of take a peek. And we talked about that a little bit. Just make sure you take a deep breath and take a look around and make sure that you can end up, just enjoying that, because it goes fast. And once that, ball's kicked and you get into the game, it goes quick. So even I'm proud of our kids that they continue to fight for 4 quarters. And then you just don't want your kids to end up falling apart or pointing the finger or doing that type of thing.
And I didn't see that. That's a good thing.
Our kids, stayed together, and we got to know we got to get better. So for my point of it, we got to make sure that is for myself as the coach of the staff, we got to make sure that we, try to prepare our kids for the ups and downs of that. We got to, prepare them more, going into games, because for that to just go, to a 21-0 in a blink of an eye. It's like, oh crap, what do we do now?
Right.
And the kids, you got to take a deep breath and just relax. And then we came out and put a score on the board. Then we got an interception, and we kind of thought we had the momentum, going our way before halftime. And we just couldn't, put it in the end zone. Then we tried a field goal, and it was a little bit too far out of our range right now. So that's something where that kind of stuff, just the experience for our kids, hopefully is going to get us better.
Experience will be huge.
It's going to get us better. So we just got to take a deep breath, and for next week, we just got to make sure that all 3 phases we're shoring up. We got to make sure that we're going to get the best 11 on the field, and the kids, know what they're doing, and make sure we just simplify it a little bit.
With Coach Guerrero, Tiger Nation, Tuesday nights here at the Tigers table. Again, thanks to everybody here. No doubt we'll have the game for you at Brookfield Friday night at 7 o'clock. If you can't make the game, come on over to the Tigers table, have a good meal, and watch Tigers win their first game against Brookfield. Let's talk about Brookfield a little bit. Talk about them. You've had a chance to watch them for a couple days now.
Well, they're big up front. They got a dynamic back who can break it at any time. You just got to make sure we're talking, this week, and making sure he's running, east and west instead of north and south. So that's something we talked about. You want to try to cage him a little bit. And they get a good push up front. I think they're bigger than, you look at the roster and things of that nature. I think they're bigger than what they kind of put out there. So our kids just got to make sure if we can kind of contain him and cage him, try to get him, off the field, would be good defensively. And then offensively, we just got to take what they're going to give us, get the ball out quick, and just, again, try to establish that run game.
Yeah, establish the run game for sure. Open up that pass game. Tigers will go after their first win on Friday night. Sean, one of the things that impressed me most when I talked with Drew and I talked with Jake, and I asked them, take me through how you felt Friday night, going into Saturday, going into Sunday. And they said a lot of good things: disappointment, frustration, not who they are. And they said kind of the same things. It's been a good week of practice, locked in on controlling things that they control and learning from their mistakes. So before we ended, the film room's obviously the best teacher. Obviously a lot of teaching points in that film room this past weekend.
Yeah, well, it was. Saturday watching, it's not like, again, you try to recreate the
No,
wheel. It's just the little things and making sure we're paying attention to details on that part of it. So, for us to be able to go out, it's more the execution part of our guys to make sure that we can get down and execute that and make sure that we can, just get the ball downfield and make sure, again, I'm going to go back to the running game. And again, I thought our kids, overall, our kids played well at times, and that's what you got to do. You got to build off the strengths and work off your weaknesses and make sure that we kind of shore those things up. Defensively, when we made them drive the field, South Range, I think the first drive they had was a 10 or 12 play drive. So we just got to make sure on third down, we got to try to focus in and buckle down and make sure we know down and distance and just that stuff. So, but it's week one for us. And we went through this a lot last year. Sure. We went 0-4. This is something that we can learn from, that we can get better at. And our kids will do that. Our kids will bounce back. They've been, positive. We talk about the frustration part of it. Our kids care. Our kids are kids that,
obviously,
that, put in the time to do that. And today we had practice at 3:00 and kids are starting to roll in a little after 2, whether they're going to steal a little bit of film time or ask questions or do with that. So our kids will bounce back. We'll be ready for Brookfield. And we just need to make sure that once it comes game time that we can execute.
There you have it, Tiger fans, right from the head ball coach's mouth. Friday night, they'll invade Brookfield. Ysn, I will be over on the coverage with Quinn of the call of the game. Looking forward to that, Coach. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk again next week. Go get that first dub.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
A bunch of Springfield interviews at the Tigers table. Steve Leslie does a wonderful job, and I thought those particular interviews were just so good. So I had to play him here on Football Friday. Before we get out of here and get you ready for football, let's go over the announcers and where they'll be tonight so you know who will be on the call for your games on this wonderful Friday, August 25th. Let's start with Hoban at Erie Cathedral Prep. That one will be Alec Caberna. He'll be on the call there. Ashbyville St. John at Whitcliffe. That'll be Ray and Sam Torres, both on the calls. Torres and Ray Torrado will be on the call for that one. Matt Mowry and Jared Niederheiser will be on the call for Salem at hosting Beaver Local. Ty Bartell will have you covered for Austin Town Fitch tonight. Columbiana at McDonald is Joe Eusebio. Rick Daly going to be at Lisbon as Fairport Harding comes to town. Mike Olachuk will be on the call with Grand Valley at Edgewood. DJ Oakley and Chris Colucci will be in South Range as Green comes to town. Jamie Thompson and Zach Svensson will be on the call for Greenville and Hubbard. Gary Burton on the call for Indian Creek at East Liverpool. Lakeview at Jefferson is CJ Bacco. Tyler Hertz will be on the call for Lakeside at Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. Noah Ricks will be in Howland as the Tigers welcome in Poland. We have Steve Leslie and Quinn on the call for Brookfield and Springfield. Tim Figley will be on the call for East Palestine hosting Toronto. Donnie Riccatelli and Don Mascala will be on the call for Boardman hosting Uniontown Lake. Eric Hughes will have you covered for Lowville. Tony Perazio will have you covered for Southern. Matt Marr and Jordan Barber will be at Liberty as they welcome in Girard. Ian O'Brien will be going to Alliance with Niles. Wyndham's coverage will have you covered for their game. Tim Corso will be traveling with Ursuline to Padua. Chris Sigler will be in Latonia for their matchup with Waterloo. Gary Altizer will be at Wellsville. Noah Doty and CJ Schroeds will have you covered at Newton Falls. We're good to go with Orange. Wow TV has you covered with Conneaut. And then Woodridge and West Branch will be covered as well by Michael Janaki and Chris Filak. So big night of games on the network. Make sure you check them out. ysnlive.com/live. But before that, on the Power Hour from 3 to 4, make sure you check in that because they'll have all the football picks and all of our guys will break down their games. A bunch of announcers will be on there. So they'll talk about the games that they're going to be at. So it's going to be a fun one. I'll be back on Monday from 1 to 2 to recap the whole weekend, and we'll have some fun. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point, brought to you as always by